What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us at PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. I'm joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. Tim, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning, Lambeau.
Hey, dude. I'm ready to roll, man. We've got so much stuff we can talk about. Just want to give everybody a heads up. It's going to be about a 40-minute episode, okay? I was going to just call the whole thing off, but I gotta meet a business partner of mine in Johnson City here in a minute. So we gotta go downstairs, get dressed real quick as soon as this is over, and make about a 15-minute commute. So please forgive me in advance. All right. So the goal is 40 minutes. We'll look up. It'll be an hour and 10, and Tim will be giggling over there. Right. It's just the way it works. So I really got to get out of here on time today, but I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. What's up, gang? Pretty cool. We're about to crack 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're watching this and you're not a sub yet, hit that sub button. Don't worry about the notifications so we don't bother you. We go live a lot, but we would definitely appreciate the subscription there. And also make sure you hit this like button for us and help other Packer fans find this podcast, this content. We got Omer in the house. We got Bleed Green up in here, Carly Ray, Nick McSwain, Chad Inc., Doug, everybody in the house. What's up, guys? Hope y'all are having a great morning. Trying to get you guys set for an awesome Thursday. Obviously, we're beyond hump day, right? It is Thursday, right, Tim?
Yeah, okay. All day. Thursday.
Yeah, all day. Hey, is there Thursday night football tonight? Look at me asking questions we don't have the answer to.
Chat, come on, posse, help us out. There's got to be, right?
Yeah, it's weird because you get a little later in the year, and I think Thursday night football stops, and they start picking up a Saturday or something. So anyway, let us know in the chat, guys, what the matchup is on Thursday night if there is one. But let's just kind of dive right into some multimedia here, man. Rashan Gary, did you send me this? I think you sent me this, didn't you, Tim? This interview with Rashan Gary on NFL Network?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I might have.
Someone sent it. It may have been Emilio. Someone sent this interview, but they had Rashan Gary. It's so cool to see him getting noticed in the national spotlight now. But he was on NFL Network talking to Baldy and, of course, Tom Pelissero. You guys remember Tom Pelissero? He covered the Packers way back in the day. If you guys have seen the awesome documentary Good Morning Lambeau, he was on it a lot. Looked like he was 12 years old in that video, but I feel like he's done a good job. He's climbed the ranks and obviously going to be probably the predecessor to Ian Rappaport there at NFL Network whenever Ian decides to move on or if he decides to retire or whatever. But pretty cool little interview, just about 2 minutes long. Let's see what Rashan Gary had to say. And like I said, it's so cool to see him finally getting noticed, having these multi-sack games, forcing fumbles, the whole 9 yards. And I got so excited looking at that PFF setup of him potentially rushing the backside of Pat Mahomes. I hope they do that a lot. I really do. But here we go with Rashan Gary's interview.
You guys have been playing great defense for the last 6-8.
What did he just say? Did he? Never mind.
Weeks right now. I mean, you could see it in the game. It showed up big time on a big stage on Thanksgiving. But what's been the key to the turnaround defensively here and how you've been able to keep your opponents down and been able to take the ball away here over the last few weeks? Because you look like the first place team in the NFC North on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, the only thing is just us coming in Monday to Sunday and really putting in the work. And that's just us taking the time, watching the plays and making sure the plays that we do don't understand or you don't think is, we have troubles, issues trying to see, we get corrected. And that's just us leaving it in the standard, man. Everybody on this defense, is always 3 years up. Of course, we got a couple young guys, but everybody understand what it is to play high-level defense and what it is to win at a high level. So we just got to keep on challenging each other day in and day out to be consistent.
Rashan, tell me about the other side of the ball because Jordan Love gets off to a hot start in that Week 1 game against Chicago. Then you guys went through this crazy sequence of injuries. Aaron Jones gets hurt in that game. I think the people just nationally, viewers, fans are kind of wondering about the ascent of Jordan Love. He played in that Thanksgiving game like this dude should be talked about as one of the rising stars within the league. I know he's on the other side of the ball, but you see him in camp. You see him on a daily basis. Just how is he growing as a player and a guy around that team?
Oh, man. Like I tell everybody, watching Jordan Love from day one, from him being under Aaron Rodgers, a future Hall of Famer, and just how he's just excited to lead, man. And day in and day out, it doesn't matter. He doesn't stay too high, doesn't stay too low. He keeps right in the middle, and that's what you need as a team leader. And one thing, he blocks out the noise. And that's one thing that I love, man. He keeps everybody focused, and it doesn't matter what he does. He's always on to the next play, and he's a great leader.
Love it, man. You love to see that, Tim. That dude is just stand up. And, the real question here, Bleed Green says, did Gary cut his hair? I was trying to look. Every time he started to turn his head, I think he had it up, but I don't know, man. He may.
Rashan, did you cut your hair?
Look at this.
Stop playing with him. Stop playing with him.
I'm going to need you to keep that on hand at all times. And I got to get me a Joe Barry one, bro. I got to.
I wish they made these with the coaches, right? That would have been great.
Oh yeah, I bet you can get them custom made. I need to tuck the stick in right here. That way I can just do the whole episode with Joe Barry right on my face for sure. Man, it got heated on Twitter yesterday when I posted that.
Oh man, yeah.
Somebody responded. This is hilarious, and they said, "If you're going to be a Joe Barry apologist, just look the other way." And I'm like, bro, I'm not even following you. And you commented on my tweet. What do you mean look the other way? What are you talking about? They get triggered when you mention Joe Barry. It is hilarious, dude. And like everybody said here, I think Chad Inc. was the first one to mention it in the chat. It's Seahawks Cowboys tonight. And of course, we're Cowboys fans tonight. We need the Seahawks to lose. How cool would it be if the Seahawks drop an L tonight, Tim? And my God, man, that would be, everything would fall perfectly into place where you can actually afford to lose that Kansas City game. If God forbid you come out, you go flat, you're still in a position, right?
Are they playing in Dallas tonight, or is this in Seattle?
That's a great question, chat. Get on it. What are you guys doing here? We should have these information. They're like, what the heck, dude? We're supposed to be asking you guys questions. What do you?
Hey, ask us questions about the Packers.
Yeah, there you go.
We don't know about the Cowboys or the Seahawks, but yeah, hopefully they get it done tonight, right?
Yeah. That would be listen, I feel really, really confident. First of all, you always got to put the disclosure in there, right? The caveat that any given Sunday.
Yep.
But the Cowboys are playing as good as they have all year long. You're right, though. If it's in Seattle, all bets are off the table. That's a tough place to play. But arguably the loudest stadium in the entire league. Mark in the chat, Rashan Gary is the man. Stop playing with him. Also got the notification that Mark has been a member of a YouTube member for 2 months now of the PTA Posse. Appreciate you supporting the channel, Mark. It's awesome to have you in here as a member, buddy. Always uplifting, always got good comments. We appreciate you contributing to the show for sure. Let's see here. Omer in the chat says Rashan Gary, class act, soft spoken, considering that a tough mean player he is, and the intensity and tenacity he plays with. I love how he's emotional too, man. Yeah. I know people like to meme that stuff, but that matters to your teammates, man. When it matters to your teammates when you go out and you're the reason your team won, and they see what it means to you. It kind of makes them look in the if you've interviewed properly, right? If you've got the right people in the building, which I think we would all agree we do. What it does is it forces your teammates to kind of look back and go, damn, why ain't I that passionate? It means that much to the guy who's out here, absolutely killed himself trying to get back from the rehab, and then just laying it all on the line out there on the field and carrying the defense like he has. Why doesn't it mean more to me? You know what I'm saying, Tim? It's just he's kind of the heartbeat of this team, isn't he?
Absolutely. And, he inspires leadership in other players on this team as well. Rashan is a guy that can be a vocal leader, but most of the time he's leading by example, and he puts so much into his work, and, other guys see that, and, the emotions spill over. One thing I'll say about Rashan is that, as intense as he is, we don't usually see him involved in that extracurricular crap on the field. You might get an occasional hold or a face mask with Rashan, but you're not getting any of that, extra personal foul type of crap, because he there's a limit. He plays under control, but he plays intense. He plays with fire and a lot of emotion, and the guys see that. And I always joke about it, but, that's how Rashan probably approaches a lot of things in his life, right? His workouts and his training program, even when he's not at the facility, he's a very locked in, serious dude, and just the type of leader you want on your football team, and that spills over into other sides of the locker room, right? It's not just, he's the heart and soul of the defense, but that dude is a leader on this football team for sure.
Yeah, and you can tell he's lockstep with Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur absolutely adores that guy. You can tell that stuff matters, man, especially when things go wrong. Right now, when you're everything's at an all-time high, you're winning, all that. it doesn't matter, right? Everybody's upbeat. But when things go awry, you need someone you can lean on, right? Old saying we had on our business team was, be that person that's strong enough that others can lean on you until they're strong enough to hold themselves up, right? That's what a true leader does. Not when it's just going good, right? And I think that's what you've got in Rashan Gary. Obviously, he's going to be that spark plug. Well, when everybody doubted Jordan Love going into Chicago, just like you said, we joke about it, but stop playing with him. That was him saying, like, look, Jordan, you need to stop being so dang humble. Like you heard all the chatter. They said you suck, and all season long. You had your Adam Shines saying he can't play football. You had your what's the other knucklehead over there at ES or at Fox, whatever his name is, Colin Coward, right? You had him running around saying he's a game manager at best. Like literally, they just
can't throw. Remember that?
Yeah,
he can't throw a football.
And then lo and behold, he becomes the first quarterback. Listen to me, guys. The first quarterback in franchise history. That includes Bart Starr. That includes Brett Favre. That includes Aaron Rodgers. Heck, it includes Lynn Dickey, who loved to wing it around back in the 80s, right?
Don Mikowski.
Yeah. And even back in the day, it sounds so silly, but even under Curly Lambeau, Arnie Herber and them used to wing that thing around too. First quarterback in franchise history. If I remember correctly, Tim, the number is 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions in 3 different games his first season as a starter. Like when you start separating yourself like that, and again, that's been the positive of Jordan Love's game. He'll put points on the board from a touchdown perspective right now. Got to control the interceptions, got to get the accuracy down, right? All that matters. But I don't know. It's just pretty cool, man. When you start seeing stuff like that get thrown around. Now, immediately there's somebody going, stop comparing them to Aaron and Brett. Okay, you fan how you want to fan. All right. We're just talking about what the numbers actually are. That stuff drives me crazy. People are just the gatekeepers are absolutely wild, man. Absolutely wild. Let's see what else we got here in the chat, man. We got everybody following in here now. It's going to be hard to keep this to 40 minutes for sure. Let's see what Bleak Green said here. I seen Andy Reid's name. When Andy Reid was asked what he thought about Love in their first matchup, he said, who? Guess what, Andy? You're going to find out Sunday night. I've got that video somewhere. I need to pull it up sometime. But yeah, it's I don't think Andy meant any disrespect from it. I don't think he was out there going, let me take a shot at them. He was at the owners meeting, I think the AFC meetings at the time. And they asked, what do you think about Jordan Love, this and that? And he was like, I'm sorry. Think about this, guys. There's all of these different players that he's preparing for. He's an offensive-minded guy. We got to kind of put that into perspective a bit, although use it as fuel, absolutely, right? You show that to the locker room and go, look, this dude didn't even know who Jay Love was. Let's make sure he remembers who he is after Sunday. I get that. I got you. But from Andy's perspective, Andy is a great guy, right? Andy's a good dude. I just imagine he's been in meetings. He's got the owner of the Chiefs there with him. They're talking through media rights deals and how the rules committee is trying to change things and maybe something he was passionate about at the time. And all of a sudden, someone says, "What do you think of Jordan Love?" I'm sorry, who? What? So I don't think there's any shot there, Tim, to you. Although it's okay to use it as fodder for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with you. Andy Reid's not that kind of dude. He's not a trash talker per se, especially in a setting like that. I think he was probably just had a lot rattling around up here. And let's be real. He coaches an AFC team. It's not like he sees Jordan Love 2 to 4 times a season kind of thing. That's not happening. Probably slipped his mind. And I believe towards the end when they kind of reminded him, he did remember. Right. He said, "Oh yeah, I remember he started against us." That kind of thing. So it's not shade. It's not throwing any kind of shade at all at us. I don't think. But hey, Bleed Green's right. Whatever you got to do to find motivation, that's fine. And I don't know how Jordan Love is when it comes to that stuff. If someone mentioned, "Hey, Andy Reid forgot who you were, man."
I don't listen too much Taylor Swift.
Man after my heart right there. Hey, man, anytime you want to go out for daddy sodas, Jordan. Wait, is he old? He's old enough to have daddy sodas now, so we can take him out for one. But I don't know if he's that type of dude, right? If he's going to be like, "Oh man, I'm going to make him remember me." I don't see Jordan being that guy. I think Jordan wants to lead his team. and is focused on getting a dub. But hey, anything extra will help, right, Clayton?
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, like Bleed Green, what you're saying here, Bleed Green, I think the players will look at it like that. It's not so much like, oh, he was out to disrespect Jordan, but it's like they still don't know who we are. Like, seriously, let's make sure they know, they damn sure know who Jordan Love is after this Sunday, right?
Yeah.
That's how players think, for sure. Anyone who's a competitive, has a competitive nature, I always respond with my reaction would be, and it's happened in podcasting, and I'll keep the details to myself, but it's just amazing how people ignored you when you first start and they don't want anything to do with you. And then you start to have a little bit of success. All of a sudden they come around and say, hey man, let's get together. Let's do this. Let's do that. Yeah. So my reaction to that, the way I'm competitive, is typically right here. Just be quiet, work your tail off. And the next time they see you, they'll know who you are. Right. Yeah. And when it happens, kill them with kindness. Kill them with humbleness, right? And don't just embarrass them. Don't just outwork them. Don't just put a better product out there. Don't just beat them on the field. But when you do it, make sure they know you're not surprised about it. What'd you expect? I'm me and you're you. What'd you expect? That kind of approach. That's how you cut people deep, for sure. But yeah, I think there could be something there, Bleed Green, for sure, buddy. Dennis Shook in the house said, good morning, everyone. I know we all really want this win, but progress is the most important thing. Absolutely. It's kind of like what we said with a couple of games earlier in the season. Detroit might have been one for me. Listen, I want the dub more than anybody, but more so, I want to make sure they're in the game, and I want to see progress across the board. If there's any young players playing because of all these injuries, you want to see them take that next step forward, right? In all honesty, we're playing for next year, right? Some would say, no, it's actually 2025 we'll be competing. If this team continues to go on the trajectory they're on right now, there's no reason to say they couldn't compete for a championship in 2024. Got to put a few more pieces in place, got to get some more experience for sure. But again, Tim, we always point back to 2010, dude. Nobody was expecting that. Nobody was expecting that in 2010, winning the Super Bowl, dude.
Absolutely. And sometimes you can be that sleeping giant. You can kind of sneak in there and surprise a lot of people. And, it certainly looks like this type of team right now, trending upward at just the right time. We talked about that, after that 4-game losing streak, we talked about what needed to happen, and it started with a victory and the team growing. It's just like Dennis is saying here, we all want this win. Progress is the most important thing. It's true. Some would argue winning's the most important thing, but you can't win without progress. And this team's certainly coming together, and better than a lot of people gave them credit for, better than a lot of people thought. And now we're really going to see, we've got the toughest test of the year coming up on Sunday. And then how are you going to play going forward in closing this season out? Because if you go back to how you started it, that's a regression, right? So we want to continue to see the progress, and hey, making the playoffs is great. Whether that happens or not, that's fine. But exactly, to Dennis's point, you gotta show progress, and this team has as of late, and it's a bright future going forward for these Packers. But 1 week at a time, one game at a time. Let's handle business. I want to beat the Swifties. I mean the Chiefs on Sunday.
Let's go, dude. Chad Inc. in the chat says Michael Jordan would make up stories about something someone said just to make it personal and elevate his game. You got to do what you got to do to be a killer out there. Aaron Rodgers was the same way, right? He always had the chip on his shoulder, and people would immediately go, why does he got to be so combative, this and that? The great people in their profession, that's kind of how they approach things, right? It really is. As far as Jordan, one of the stories I remember hearing, he was at a restaurant right before a game. Maybe it was for a finals game. And literally the waiter or the staff member or somebody said, hey, good luck tomorrow, Mr. Jordan. And he literally looked back at the guys he was at and he said, that's all I needed. Like, he said, good luck. What do you know what I mean? He immediately turned out, wait, luck? You think I need luck? Okay, let's go out here and kill these guys. Right?
Mike was, Mike, that whole nother level. Just a little bit of psychoticness mixed in there. I mean, I like to think that's where Kobe came up with Mamba.
Oh, absolutely.
Coming up watching Michael Jordan, he had a new name for that killer instinct. And that's pretty much what Mike had back in the the 80s and 90s. but yeah, absolutely. Hey, whatever you got to do to motivate yourself or motivate your teammates, right? And not everyone responds to that. I mean, there's guys you could tell, hey man, this dude was talking about your girlfriend before the game, and he's like, yeah, whatever. Not everyone reacts the same way when it comes to motivation, but certainly being slept on by the rest of the league is motivation, especially the younger players who are trying to make a name for themselves right now. So I could definitely see some of our first and second year guys getting jacked up to play here on Sunday night on the national stage for the second week in a row. So go Pack, go.
Yeah, Carly Ray in the chat said, I love Tim's evil cackle. You know what it reminded me of, Carly? It sounded like the very end of this video. No, it didn't. I was just joking.
Oh, man.
Let's see who else in the chat here. Tom Spalding said, I love Rodgers and all he did, but isn't it refreshing to have a QB1 who doesn't scold his receivers but works with them to improve as a team? It happens every time a turnover or a quarterback turnover happens, Tom. I remember, I was a Packers fan, obviously, when Brett was here and they turned the reins over to Aaron. And one of the knocks on Brett was, he quote unquote had his own locker room, right? He didn't have to hang out with the team. I asked a former player, I won't mention the name. I had a good conversation online with a former NFL player that played with Brett. And I asked him, I said, what was it like playing with Brett? Like, was he approachable? Was he like, his name has really been drugged here lately, obviously. And listen, we talk about football on this podcast. I could care less what someone's politics are or the details of a court case or the beef he's got with McAfee. Listen, we try to talk football here, unless of course it's Taylor Swift, because we know Tim is a big fan. But when it comes to Brett, I asked him that, and he said, I came on a little bit later in the game and Brett was already established. So he had his family and he didn't really hang out with the guys because he was always with his family. And, you got to understand too, like he fought addiction, both alcohol and painkiller addiction. Once he got that under control, he decided, I'm going to separate myself from that nightlife, right? Because you can find videos of him in bars and stuff, right? When he was younger, him throwing footballs, breaking beer bottles and stuff in a bar with, I think it was Homer maybe. But anyway, like he kind of settled down. So that was how it was on the backside. Now, when I became a fan was back in 2003. And obviously when they handed the reins over to Aaron, which I think was in 2007 or 2008, whatever year it was, I remember immediately hearing that Aaron Rodgers was having Bible studies at his house because, a lot of people don't know this, but Aaron grew up very, very religious, right? His parents, his family was very rooted in the church. Now he's had some negative experiences with the church. Maybe that's why I connect with him too, because I had a lot of negative experiences with the church. That's why when I tell people I'm a Christian, I'm a different kind of Christian. We won't get into the details, but I don't buy into the whole grab your Bible and tote it into the church and good morning, brother. And then on your way home, you're cussing your wife out in the car, cussing the guy in front of you out. You know what I mean? Like, we're all human. You need to give each other, room to grow. And the ultimate goal is making everyone else's life better, trying to help each other out. So when he talked about that stuff, that connected with me. But he would hold Bible studies with the team, right? And he would get them together at his house. And I was like, man, this is refreshing. And I love Brett. I was a big Brett Favre fan, right? It's like, it's so cool to see a young quarterback kind of take these guys in and they're creating this camaraderie and they want to perform for each other. You're seeing the same exact thing here with Jordan. And as Aaron's career winded down, a lot of people criticized him that he wasn't hanging out with the guys and this and that. And people were laughing at the fact that he's using the age gap as an excuse. And I immediately try to tie it back to me, Tim. I try to say, okay, the people that I've worked with, projects I've worked on with people, am I going out on Saturday night and hanging out with a 22-year-old? Ain't happening. So why are we holding these athletes to a higher standard just because they're quote unquote getting paid more money, right? So I never bought into that too much. I just think it's kind of the necessary cycle that happens as a player gets older. But man, it's a real thing, Tim. That is real on this team, that these guys are rallying around love and they're getting to grow together, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, it's just different style of leadership, right? I relate a lot to Jordan. I'm a Libra, so I'm about that balance, right? I like to achieve balance in my life. And, we talked about Jordan being kind of reserved and a more quiet, stoic type of a leader. But then we see that in-game fire, right? You see him getting fired up, or you'll see him rile up his teammates. And you want that too, right? You need to motivate. Everyone's got their own style, and just a little different approach than Aaron Rodgers, obviously, because they're different men, right? Different players. Right. And, who knows 10 years from now what Jordan Love's leadership looks like, right? You know what I mean? So things evolve as you move forward in your career. I will tell you, one of the noticeable differences is the fact that, a lot of these guys, were here around the same time Jordan got here or slightly after. So he's coming up with his teammates rather than, we look at Aaron's situation. He kind of inherited a lot of Brett's team, and there was that transition moving forward. So it's a little bit different when you come in and you're a young quarterback and you got young guys around you and with you, as opposed to, Aaron's situation was kind of came in with a lot of vets, and there was a lot of learning that Aaron had to do. We all remember when he kind of ruffled Brett's feathers the wrong way there with the old man comment when he came into the locker room. So, it's just different style of leadership. And I agree with what you said too. Would a 22-year-old want to hang out with us on a Saturday night? I don't think any more than we'd want to hang out with a 22-year-old, right, Clayton? So,
right.
Just different style of leadership. Guys change as they get older. And, as far as the comparisons to Aaron Rodgers, hey, it comes with the territory. Jordan Love knew that was coming. We probably won't hear the end of that for a long time. I mean, how long did it take for the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers comparisons to stop?
Right.
Even after we won the Super Bowl, you would have thought that would have got the monkey off his back a little, but you'll still hear that. And that just comes with the territory, and you just got to handle it and move forward with your style of leadership, which so far so good seems to be working here in Titletown.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a big misconception too. People make it sound like Brett was really bad to Aaron. It went both ways. Like Brett had the comment as soon as Aaron got here was they asked him, are you excited about bringing him along? And he said, it's not my job to help him improve. He didn't say I wouldn't help him. I wouldn't give him tips. He just said, that's not my job. It's a coach's job. Like I'm focused on being the best me, right? Well, immediately the media takes it and runs with it, makes it sound like, oh, he's not happy that Rodgers. Was he happy? No, of course he wasn't. They drafted his replacement. Just like Rodgers wasn't happy that they drafted Love, right? But I think Rodgers handled the Love situation a lot better. But like you said too, Tim, it went both ways. Rodgers on two different occasions bashed Brett. He called him grandpa in the locker room in front of his teammates. So imagine your career's winding down. They just drafted your replacement, and the first thing he says to you in the locker room is he calls you old man, grandpa in front of the teammates. Lucky you didn't lose a couple teeth, right? Because those Louisiana boys are a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like Mississippi, wherever he's at down there in the bayou, right down in Kill.
Kill.
Yeah, and then on top of that, later on, he took a shot at Brett about his Wonderlic score. When he found out what Brett's Wonderlic score was, Aaron called him out on that. So it's like to just say, Brett was bad to Aaron, I think that's inaccurate. And to say that, Aaron, was perfect to Brett is inaccurate. One thing we can say accurately is the way Aaron brung Jordan Love along was absolutely awesome. He took him under his wing, took care of him. All he's ever said is good things about Jordan Love. You ask Jordan Love, hey, what has he done for you? Oh, man, I can go to him for anything. He still texts. He texts him after the game Thursday, right? They still text and communicate. So I know people like to create a narrative on both sides as if Aaron's the bad guy, right? He's the evil one. If he's so evil, why does his teammates still like him, right? So it's just business. It is what it is. And that's what he was saying, in my opinion, was, look, it's obvious you wanted to move on. Let me move on. And Goody prevented him from doing that for 2 years, right? So I kind of get it, You just heard how I react, Tim. I would have probably handled it the same way if I was Aaron Rodgers' shoes. I'd be like, no, you made your decision, dude. Let's go, move on, and I'm gonna prove you wrong. Like that's kind of a competitive thing. I think he's got that in him, just like Jordan did for sure. Emilio said, yeah, the cutoff's 27 as far as hanging out with people.
You got to check his ID, man. We're gonna have to check his ID.
How old are you, Emilio? I'm just curious. No. Let's see here. Dennis Shook says, good morning, everyone. I know we all really want this win, but progress is the most important thing. We already hit on that one. Okay, yeah. And again, we completely agree with that. It was Omer I was trying to go to. I want the Lions round one so bad. and 3rd and 6th seed for us seems most likely too perfect. Imagine going back to Detroit. Here's the thing. Typically, when you play those close games, right, you play them the first time, whichever team wins the other one, they're coming back into that game saying, we're getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves, but that's all right. That's what we do on this show. You're coming back into that second game going, okay, this worked last time. Let's just keep doing it. And the other team's going, this is what they did last time. Let's prepare for that. So you got to kind of make a decision. Do we switch things up? And then you outthink yourself if you change things up and it doesn't work out. There's just a kind of this mental ping pong that takes place. But, yeah, it's so hard to beat the same team twice in the same season and so hard to beat the same team 2 times in a row unless, of course, you're playing the Bears. But that kind of goes without saying. But it would be interesting to see that matchup again there in the playoffs for sure. This is pretty cool. Nick McSwain says Rodgers is practicing again. I'm excited to see him play. I am too, Nick. I want to see him kind of put the naysayers to bed. It bothers me that people are saying he's lying about his Achilles. He could be, right? I don't know. One thing I do know is, Tim, I can't read people's minds, bro. Like, it amazes me how they will tell you what other people are thinking. Well, he said this, but here's what he really meant. Damn, you a mind reader? All right, cool, man. Good stuff. I just don't understand that. Living like that.
Did you guys didn't we watch the play ad nauseum? Like,
yeah, no, he faked that. He faked
it. I mean, you could literally see that thing
snap,
contract and expand and
reverberate up his calf muscle. You could see it. And it's like, oh, I think he's lying about it. Some people's hate for people is it is absolutely wild. As delusional as you think he is, right? As delusional as you think he is about lying about everything, oh man, you kind of proving the guy right when he points out that people just make stuff up. But yeah, I agree though, Nick. It should be must see TV for sure, man. All right, let's do this real quick. Since we were on the Jordan Love topic, I want to hit on a couple things that I found online from the 33rd team. This may be a little hard to see. I'll read it for you though. He has now climbed the rankings to 15th. I think if you guys remember, we covered it a few weeks back. He was somewhere in like the around the 21 range or maybe the 18 range. Well, now he's kind of stabilized at 15. He says Jordan Love continues to play good, promising ball. It's taken 3 months, but we are finally starting to see all the reps with the Green Bay Packers young offense paying off. So he's sitting right around that 15 range, according to the 33rd team. I thought that was real cool. Here's a cool stat from PFF Green Bay Packers at PFF_Packers on Twitter. Jordan Love, when holding the ball for less than 2.5 seconds this season, 80 of 109, 653 yards, 8 tuds, 0 interceptions, 85.3 PFF grade. That's 4th amongst quarterbacks with the eye emoji. Tim, it's what we talked about. When you watch the tape early, he's not processing in time. He's not getting to the proper answer. Every snap on offense, there's an equation that takes place, right? There's a question on the field. You've got to get to the answer as quick as possible. And in many cases, he was getting to the right answer. He was just getting there a second late. And that would be the difference between a 15-yard gain and a 3-yard gain, right? So pretty cool to see this. This is what we've talked about on Chalk Talk. He's seeing the game faster. He's processing the information faster. He's getting to the right read on time now. He's playing what we call playing on time. And it looks like PFF agrees, man.
Oh, yeah. And the numbers don't lie, right? And Jordan's putting it together. We saw the same thing. We were just talking about Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers did not have a phenomenal first season in this league, but you did see him start to put it together towards the end of it. And Jordan might be actually ahead of where he was. We already talked about the stats. Things are coming together pretty quickly for J Money. And 8 tutters and no picks. That's my favorite stat right there. I'm going to circle that one real quick on the big screen. Jordan's just fun to watch, man. And as he improves, he's just going to get better and better. I think back to pre-draft, there was a lot of analysts that threw the Patrick Mahomes comparisons around with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And now the more I watch him and I see the arm angle change and I see the stepping up or stepping out of the pocket, looking to extend, looking to run, being smart and sliding, not going head first anymore here. You do. And I'm not going to compare him directly, but you see those traits. You see that type of play as a quarterback, and it's exciting because, Mahomes is an electric dude. And if Jordan Love's going to be in that class with those type of quarterbacks, I'm all for it because, that's new to us in Green Bay, right? I think we would agree that, Aaron and Brett, those guys were pocket passers, not saying they couldn't run because we've seen them run when they need to. But the fact that Jordan could be all of that plus mobility mixed into there is just, it makes me go like this. You talk about the evil laugh that makes me want to do the evil laugh. Ha 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 ha. Look what we have. Look at these weapons. So, it'll be fun to see it on display on Sunday night for real. Still thinking about possibly snagging one of these last minute tickets.
Do it, Tim. Do it.
I might. We'll see.
You let me know if I can do anything to help, buddy. But we'd love to see you there for sure. Let's see here. At Bleeding Green just became a new member, and he just said in the chat, Bleeding Green and Gold, I'm sorry. Been watching you guys a while. Finally pulled that, quote, member trigger. Hey, we appreciate you, buddy. Now we'll put you into the on the wheel there during the post-game show, give you an opportunity to win some autographed memorabilia. Like I said, we're giving away an autographed Dorsey Levens jersey this Sunday night during the post-game show. And like I said, all of our YouTube members, if you just go to our homepage, click join. Something I didn't even know was a thing here on YouTube. All of a sudden, I started getting notifications that people were paying a small donation every month to be a member and support the channel. And I was like, you know what? Let's find a way to give that back. So we just went out and got a bunch of autographed memorabilia from pristineauction.com. Some people were saying that's a bad business move, Clayton. You're losing money there. I know, but when you're married to Mandy Bailey, you lose money all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. She does a lot of that shopping, and she really enjoys it. She said, what was it? Last night I showed her a meme, Tim, and it cracked me up. You've heard of the term breadwinner, right? You know what? Justin from Packernet Podcast, his wife shared this meme, and it said, I'm the consistent bread loser in the house, meaning they spend all the money rather than cracked me up, bro. I'm like, Mandy is the queen of that for sure. No doubt about it. But yeah, appreciate you becoming a member, man. A couple other things we wanted to hit on here when it comes to Jordan Love, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. We're coming down the stretch here, Tim. This was an article, I think it was on PFF, Jordan Love. It says, particularly against Detroit in Week 12, the team's biggest statement win of the season, Love was dialed in, and when it came to ball location and overall accuracy, he completed 68.8% of his passes, his highest rate of the season. But PFF's ball location charting data shows the real difference was exactly where the ball was placed, despite one of the highest average depths of target of his season. Against Detroit, a massive 35.7% of his passes were charted as having a perfect ball location, almost double his previous high, also against the Lions, interestingly. 2 of his 4 most accurate games in terms of ball location have come in the past 2 weeks, and he has put the ball in harm's way just once in that span. So you're seeing the accuracy improve, Tim. Bro, that's exactly what we wanted to see, man. We wanted to see quicker decisions. We want to see taking care of the ball. We want to see the accuracy improve. You're seeing it take place right before our eyes, man.
Absolutely. And you can throw passes into tight windows. You can throw guys open. You can do those things without being dangerous with the ball. And again, here comes the comparison, but where do you think he got that from? Right. Aaron was a master at that. And you watch some of those throws, and I got to think a guy who spent a few years sitting behind that guy is bringing some of that into his game. And, I'm looking forward to the growth. It's just going to get better. Aaron Rodgers just got progressively more accurate throughout his career. I mean, we could see the same thing with Jay Money here. He protects the football and he's willing to take a risk, but they're calculated risks. We don't see him heaving too many up into dangerous spots. So it's just great to see, man. I'm excited to watch him continue to grow along with these young pass catchers on this team. So offense is on the right track. Got to just keep it rolling here through Sunday and through the rest of this season, man. Just looking forward to it.
Definitely. So here's another one. I'll try to read it off real quick. This came from the 33rd team. So it's not just PFF. It's not just ESPN. It's not just NFL Network. This is the 33rd. I'm trying to pull from all these different directions. That's what we do on this show. It's not just using the PFF data. It's not just using the SIS data. It's not just us watching the tape. We try to give a broader perspective, get multiple opinions. That way we come away with the real facts. But it says Love has been one of the best quarterbacks in football when pressured over the last month. Love has generated an even .00 EPA, okay, per drop back when pressured since week 9, per True Media. A literal 0 doesn't sound very good, but remember that bad things usually happen on pressured dropbacks. Love's 0.0 EPA per drop back when pressured ranks 4th in the league behind only Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, and Justin Herbert. To share company with 3 other top 10 quarterbacks, even if on a small sample, is a fantastic sign for Love's recent development. It's not just showing up in the stat sheet, of course. Love's budding confidence is easy to see in the way he plays. A player who was once as rigid and robotic as ever is starting to find creative throwing angles and make the most of his, I guess it says S-tier arm talent with risky throws on the move. And I think what we're seeing there, Tim, and we'll get your parting thoughts with that little comment there. I think what we're starting to see is exactly what LaFleur said. I think he's thinking too much. He just needs to go out there and play ball. He just needs to go out there and turn it loose. That's what he's doing. You're seeing the angles. You're seeing the creativity. You're seeing the throw, rolling left, coming back across his body, creating those throwing windows. He's starting to peak, man. You're seeing the peak, right? Now the question is, does it go higher or does he come back down to this new floor? That's what we need to watch the rest of the year. But what do you think about that under pressure? You're seeing the accuracy. You're seeing him get the ball out, right, in 2.5 seconds, and he's been great getting the ball out in that short amount of time. You're seeing the accuracy improve, and now you're seeing him playing better under pressure in the most important game there against Detroit both times this year. What do you think?
I think that's absolutely accurate. I think LaFleur was telling him, you prepare so much for these games. Trust it when you're out there. If it breaks down, trust your read, trust your instincts. We've watched enough film. You've done enough prep. Just trust it. The other thing I think that goes hand in hand with this is that wide receiver room meeting with Jordan. There was some talk about that's a weekly thing now. These guys get on the same page. They work together. They want to make sure that they're in sync. That's going to breed confidence in, your receivers, but also your QB1. Knowing that, hey, we have an understanding. You're supposed to run a dig here, but we know in the situation, if that play breaks down, it's playground ball, and I know what you're doing. We're in sync. We talk about the chemistry that Rodgers had with Jordy and Devontae and these receivers over the years. That stuff doesn't just happen like that. You build towards that, and you work. You go through the grind with these guys and play enough games together. You start to build that. So I think that's just as much a part of Jordan's development as anything else, is being in sync with his teammates. And you're right. Is this a new floor? Or are we going to continue to grow? Time will tell.
Definitely. And I've seen that we have Dakota in here. It's good to see you, buddy. Know you're fresh off the honeymoon, all that stuff. Appreciate you swinging through even for just a second. This is the last question we'll take, and we got to get out of here, guys. I'm already 3 minutes over. I got to get into town quick here. Bleed Green says, Tim, Clayton, since I'm fairly new here, I'm just wondering how you guys became friends. What's the history? Bleed Green, basically, we've never met just online here. When I started doing the pod, he was someone that would comment on the pod on Twitter a little bit, and he actually called in a couple times. And there was one time specifically I was doing a show by myself. Tim called in, and we started chatting. I'm like, if you ain't got nothing going on, just hang around, man. And just been kind of some chemistry here, man. I think we're like minds, not just on the football field, right, and kind of how we see things. But that's basically it. He was a caller. He was a listener. And it's kind of like McAfee's show, right? All the guys that were on his crew were people that were calling in and listening to the show for the most part. So it's pretty cool, man, when you come across people online that you kind of have like minds and just love ball. But Tim, am I describing that correctly there, man?
Right on, man. United by football, right? Like this game and this team that we both love. I think that's what brought us together, and I'm grateful for it, man. And we'll meet someday, right, Clayton? It's happening. It'll happen in the future for sure.
It's gonna happen real soon for sure, man. Yeah. And like Emilio, you'll see him on the show from time to time. Same thing, man. He was emailing me just down the road here in Tennessee. We didn't know it. We lived about an hour apart, hour and a half, something like that. And yeah, man, you just I'll say it this way, and we'll wrap it up. I think it's a God thing. You don't have to believe that. That's just me. I think that if you try to do right in the world and you try to take care of people and you try to be positive and look at things through a positive lens, maybe the way he sees things, he puts people in your path. Now it's on us to kind of slow down and go, you know what? maybe that's a sign, right? Sometimes we get in our own way and it prevents us from doing that. I've been way, way more guilty than anyone else in that regard because I'm stubborn, hard-headed, and got a little bit of a temper. But, it just, I don't know. I think he puts people in your path for a reason. You're going to walk by somebody today, in my opinion, that you're supposed to say hi to, that you're supposed to encourage. And that's why we always try to wrap up the show with what we say. Again, I'm not on my high horse saying I'm great at this. I'm actually pretty bad at it. That's why I try to say it over and over and over, because if I say it to the listeners when we wrap up, it makes me hold myself accountable to try to do the same thing, or else I'm just a hypocrite. I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't nothing in this world I hate worse than a damn hypocrite. So,
Amen.
All right, we're going to get out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. This was a fun show. The chat was lit. I hate to have to run with so many people in here. Do us a favor, hit that like button. We'll be back for PTA Live tonight. Normal time, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, to talk everything Packers. We've got a lot of content that we didn't have time to get to today that will spill over into tonight. It's going to be good. We're also going to hear from Brian Bulaga and his take on Sean Ryan and why he thinks Sean Ryan might be the better pick there at right guard. But nonetheless, Tim, appreciate your time, buddy. Always good having a cup of coffee with you here in the morning. And for those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. Everybody in the chat, you absolutely killed it. I want to say congratulations to Mark being a member for 2 months. Bleeding Green and Gold, thank you for becoming a new member. Excited to have you as a part of the PTA posse. Y'all have a great day. As always, let's go out and be the change that we want to see in the world. And always, always, always go Pack Go.